Hi, my name is Mark Bewley. I'm the Church Starter Strategist for Region 5, and I cover the greater Detroit area. But I'm here to talk to you about our process of church planting. In church planting, in 1985, I came to Michigan. I met with Bob Wilson, Billy Witt, and my director of missions was Carol Fowler. I went to Northland Association and planted a church in West Branch. It's still there today. But things were much different then than they are now. In 1985, when I went to West Branch, the questions pretty much were, do you love Jesus? Are you willing to go? Here's some money, go. There was no assessment, no training. Sometimes Carol would stop by and talk to me, and he would interact, but we were left pretty much on our own. Some guys made it through, other guys dropped out. Some churches are still in existence, other churches have folded up. But in 1985 too, I bought my first computer. My first computer was a Commodore 128. Oh, I thought I was in heaven. Commodore 128 with the keyboard and the computing power. Oh, it was great. But now I hold in my hand a smartphone. This smartphone has more computing power than about 25 Commodore 128s. It is much better, and we enjoy this much more than I did my Commodore 128 back in the day. And church planting has changed. We no longer just say, do you love Jesus? Plant a church. We want to give you the best tools possible. So here's what we do. In our process, we have something called Jumpstart. Jumpstart is the first thing you come to. It is like an entrance exam. It's like going to the doctor and the doctor giving you a physical, and he will say, hey Mark, you need to lose a little weight. That's what they always say. But they say that for me because I need to. Then we have assessment, which is the final exam. In Jumpstart, we test and we look at and we evaluate where you're at. We used to have something called basic training or basic training journey. We can still use some of those things, but it is only if they need it coming out of Jumpstart. Then a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, whenever they're ready to go, they come to assessment. And assessment is the final tool. We want to see their vision, and we want to see that they have a plan. What's their discipleship plan? What's their evangelism plan? What's their worship plan? All those things in assessment. So we start with Jumpstart. And pretty much everyone passes because we think everyone can be part of a church plant, but maybe not the lead assessor or the lead planter. And then we go to assessment, and we assess for lead planters only. In an assessment, it's a pass or fail, or you need to go back and do some of the things we told you in Jumpstart. A lot of states don't do that. A lot of states still do that old model. Or they just talk to you for a while, but we in Michigan value your money, your cooperative program gifts. We understand that some church plants will fail. That's inevitable. But we want to do everything possible to help a church plant succeed. And so through your giving, through the cooperative program, through the Baptist State Convention of Michigan, we have a Jumpstart that takes anyone and gives them an evaluation of where they're at and where they need to be. Then our church starter strategists will work with them to get them ready for assessment, their final exam. And at the assessment, they then show what they have learned. And then we're able to fund them, give them cooperative program giving through the North American Mission Board and the Baptist State Convention. You can rest assured that things have changed in church planting in Michigan. They've improved. Many states haven't, but we have. And we have faith and trust that this is a great system. It's only as good as the planters we have, but no planter is going to go out with just a few dollars and say good luck. We are doing our best through Jumpstart and then through basic training and all the tools we give them to get to assessment and pass. So we're going to hear from some great planners, some great stories about church planting in Michigan. But remember, Jumpstart and assessment are two big points that we need to understand about our process. Thank you. God bless you.
The assessment process helps the state convention be a good steward of its funds by assessing candidates on whether God has uniquely gifted them to plant a church. My name is Tim Steele, and my wife and I went through assessment, and it was the hardest evaluation that I've ever gone through. The assessment looked at where I was in my church planting process and what areas I needed to gain proficiency in before I launched the new church. Areas where the assessment process evaluated me were my preaching, my strategy for evangelism. The assessors even looked at my marriage, the depth of my Bible knowledge, and what scared me the most was they even looked at mine and my wife's psychological profile. They even put me with others to solve problems to see how I worked alongside other people who might be on my team. In addition, the assessment process evaluated my wife and how much she was in the same accord and agreement with me in starting a new church. The assessment process helped me look at myself in ways that I would have never looked at myself without this process. Assessment helped tighten up some areas in my strategy. It even helped me to know how to pick my team that would help me in this endeavor. These assessors cared for me, and it was obvious that they not only cared about church planting, but they were concerned in helping me understand how God wired me up and where I best could serve the Lord in a church planting environment. You know, assessment is important because it helps us Southern Baptists take care of our people. It helps us protect pastors and their wives. I have a relative in another state who started a church through the North American Mission Board. They would have never made it through the assessment process here in Michigan. They would have been pointed to work with another lead church planter. And yet for 2 years they worked hard to start a church, and even though much money was wasted in the process, the part that was most difficult for me to watch was how much anguish, hurt, and pain they suffered because my relative was not wired up to be a lead church planter. There are still repercussions in their lives as they try to understand and learn from this failure. You know, a well-done assessment program like we have here in Michigan would have spared this couple the tragedy of a church plant failure and the disappointment that goes along with it. You know, having gone through the assessment, I'm a believer in this process. Assessment made me better and makes our state church plants even stronger.